Welcome to the Power Up Podcast, where faith and geek culture collide. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Erin. Whether you're grinding through life's side quests or running on low HP, we're here to talk about faith that levels up, one checkpoint at a time.
That's right. And today, we're diving into something that hits close to home for a lot of players. Why giving still matters, even when you're broke.
Yeah, this one's real. We're talking about those moments when you're not just low on mana, you're out of gold, broke in real life, and generosity feels like an impossible boss fight.
Exactly. And this isn't the kind of broke where you're cutting back on Starbucks. We're talking couch cushion broke, calculator at the grocery store broke, college ramen broke.
Oh yeah, the kind of broke where you're standing in the store debating between a loaf of bread or another pack of instant noodles.
Been there. And the last thing that crosses your mind in that moment is giving. You're just trying to survive.
But that's what makes this conversation so powerful. Because Jesus shows us that generosity isn't about what's in your wallet. It's about what's in your heart.
So, let's jump into it. Not as some prosperity power-up, but as a call to live like Jesus, even when life feels like survival mode.
Okay, picture this. You're dropped into a survival game. No starter kit, no crates, no hub. You don't spawn with a diamond sword or enchanted armor. You've got, like, a rock and maybe a stick.
Or if you're lucky, a piece of bread and a med kit.
Exactly. And suddenly, every choice matters. Every move could mean the difference between surviving the night or seeing that dreaded game over screen.
And that's a lot like how generosity works. God's not looking at the size of your inventory. He's looking at how you use what you've got.
Yeah, because he's not waiting for you to stack your legendary loot before you start giving. He's looking for trust.
And Jesus made that crystal clear in this one small story, the widow's offering, in Mark chapter 12, verses 41 through 44.
Jesus is sitting opposite the temple treasury, watching people toss in their offerings. The rich roll up with bags of coins. The sound of all that metal hitting the box must have echoed through the whole courtyard.
It looked impressive. People probably noticed, maybe even clapped. But then, a poor widow walks up with 2 tiny coins, barely worth a penny.
And she drops them in. No sound, no show. Just faith.
Jesus notices. He calls his disciples over and says, "This widow has given more than all the others."
Because the rich gave out of their abundance, but she gave out of her poverty, all she had to live on.
That right there is huge. She didn't give her leftovers. She gave her life.
It wasn't about the coins. It was about her heart, her trust, her willingness to say, "God, you've got me, even when I don't got much."
That's the heart of this episode. Generosity as surrender. It's not a transaction. It's a declaration of trust.
And that's something survival games teach us too. The player who gives away their only healing potion, not because it's easy, but because someone else needs it, that's real risk. That's love.
Yeah, you could say generosity is the ultimate co-op move.
Exactly.
So fast forward from that widow, we've got the Macedonian church. These believers were like the hard mode players of the early church.
Right. 2 Corinthians chapter 8. Paul talks about them like this legend tier guild. They were poor, persecuted, struggling, but somehow overflowing with generosity.
Paul literally says they were in a severe test of affliction, yet they were filled with joy, and that joy overflowed into giving.
Wait, extreme poverty, severe affliction, and joy? How does that compute?
It's wild, right? It's because their giving wasn't about money. It was about mission.
Yeah, Paul says they gave beyond their means of their own accord. They weren't pressured or guilted. They begged to be included in giving.
That's what gets me. People who had nothing begging to be part of generosity. Like, please let us help.
Because they knew something deeper. Before they gave anything, they gave themselves to God.
Exactly. That's the cheat code right there. You can't outgive God. But when you surrender first, giving stops being scary.
It's like when you join a guild in an MMO. Some members have epic armor and tons of loot. Others show up with basic supplies. But the mission only works when everyone contributes what they can.
So the Macedonians were like, hey, we might not have top-tier gear, but we're all in.
And that's what God multiplies, not the size of the gift, but the spirit behind it.
Exactly. Their story reminds us that generosity isn't an economic equation. It's an act of worship.
Because before you can give out of your wallet, you've got to give out of your will.
That's good. Write that one down.
Already done.
So let's take a step back. Why would that widow give her last 2 coins? Why would the Macedonians give when they had nothing?
Because they understood something we tend to forget. None of it was ever really theirs.
Psalm 24, verse 1. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Every paycheck, every talent, every coin, all His.
And Deuteronomy 8:18 reminds us, it's God who gives us the power to get wealth. Even your ability to work, to create, to earn, that's a gift.
Yeah, it's not about losing what's yours. It's about returning what was His all along.
So basically, we're just borrowing from the guild bank.
Exactly. You don't hoard guild gear, you use it to help the mission.
And that changes everything. Because when we see giving as stewardship instead of loss, we start realizing generosity isn't draining, it's empowering.
That's the opposite of what culture tells us. We live in this grind for yourself, hoard your loot mindset. But God's economy is flipped upside down.
Yeah, it's not gain through keeping, it's gain through giving.
And just to be clear, this isn't prosperity gospel. We're not saying give $5, get $50.
Yeah, this isn't a loot box system.
Exactly. God's not a vending machine for blessings. What He multiplies isn't always in your wallet, it's in your witness.
The widow didn't become rich, but her story still challenges us 2,000 years later. The Macedonians didn't suddenly level up in wealth, but their faith became legendary.
Because generosity is trust. Every time we give, we're saying, God, I know you own it all. I'm just giving it back to you.
That's worship.
So here's the practical question. What do we do with what's in our hands right now?
Luke 16:10. One who is faithful in little will also be faithful in much.
This verse keeps showing up for us in obedience, discipline, and now generosity.
Yeah, it's like God keeps patching this one into every update of our spiritual lives.
Right? Faith grows in small steps before it shows up in big ones.
So maybe the question isn't how much do I have? It's what am I doing with what I already have?
So true. Too many of us wait for someday. Someday when I make more, I'll give. Someday when life's easier, I'll serve.
But if you won't give when it's small, you won't give when it's big.
Exactly. Faith doesn't scale up by magic. It levels up through the grind.
So maybe generosity is like XP. Every time you give, time, money, encouragement, you're gaining spiritual experience.
That's a good way to put it. Every quest counts. Every small act builds your character.
So this week, instead of waiting for someday, start now. Use what's already in your hands.
Maybe that looks like giving financially, even if it's small. Or giving your time, helping a neighbor, volunteering, listening to someone who needs it.
Or even giving your words, speaking life into someone who's on the verge of giving up.
Yeah, because in God's kingdom, every XP point counts. Every yes matters.
And every act of generosity gets logged in eternity.
All right, so let's turn this into a weekly quest.
I love this part. Okay, Power Up fam, here's your mission log for the week.
Pick one quest. Don't overcomplicate it. Just one act of generosity that says, God, I trust you with what I have.
Option 1. Give financially. Doesn't matter how small. The widow's 2 coins still changed the story.
Option 2. Give your time. Serve, help, or just show up.
Option 3. Use your words. Encourage someone. Speak faith over their chaos.
Or option 4, share what you've got. Maybe that's a meal, a ride, or just your presence.
The key is to do one thing. Not all of them, just one. Start there.
And when you do it, pause. Don't just check the box. Pray. Say, God, I'm offering this to you.
That's what turns an ordinary act into worship.
And that's how we charge the core.
So, as we wrap this up, Generosity isn't about waiting until your inventory is full. It's about trusting God with what's already in your hands.
In survival games, you don't start with much. You spawn almost empty. But the choices you make with what little you've got, that's what defines your run.
That's what Jesus saw in the widow. That's what Paul saw in the Macedonians. And that's what God wants to see in us.
Not players waiting for legendary loot, but disciples who trust him at the spawn point.
Because your 2 coins, your small act, your faithful yes, it's never wasted.
In the hands of the one who owns the whole map, even the smallest offering can change the world.
So don't wait for someday. Start now. Start small.
Because in God's kingdom, every act of generosity is logged. Every move matters. And every heart that trusts him powers up the mission.
And if you want to take that next step in fueling the mission with us, you can head to powerupchurch.org and click on Fuel the Mission at the top.
There you'll find 2 ways to give, Power Boost and the Power Core. Power Boost is how you fuel the church, one charge at a time, helping Power Up Church keep spreading faith, power, and purpose to players around the world.
And the Power Core? That's our monthly support, the ones fueling the bigger missions, community centers, disaster response teams, student loan repayment programs, and more.
Every gift, every charge, every core driver keeps this story moving forward.
So whether you're giving once or joining monthly, thank you for helping us energize the world. One heartbeat, one player, one mission at a time.
That's it for today's episode of the Power Up Podcast.
If this hit home for you, share it, drop a rating, and help spread the word.
And remember, faith isn't a solo campaign, so keep your heart charged and your hands open.
Until next time, stay powered up.
And hey, don't forget to respawn with faith this week.
See you in the next quest.